guys. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about criticism and how to deal with criticism, because it's something that we all have to face, whether we are an artist or not. Unfortunately, especially in this social media age, we all come up against criticism, and it's not something that's discussed a lot. So I tend to think there's three kinds of criticism. And the first one, so for me, this won't apply for everyone, this first one, but for me, as an illustrator who sells their products, the first one is feedback from customers, which obviously is like 99% of the time, thankfully, is super positive. But yeah, I think it's definitely the most important one, and actually it's the only one that we should pay attention to. And if the number one thing in my business is customer service. So if I do have a customer who is unhappy, I will do absolutely everything I can to make that customer happy, because I just think that's the decent thing to do. So I did have a customer who was unhappy with the back, like the rubber backs of pins. So yeah, obviously I don't want my customers to be unhappy, so I sent some different types to the customer, including like a lock back. So yeah, it turned around, like she hadn't spoken to me first, which was the difficult bit, because of course if anyone's unhappy I want them to come and speak to me and I can do whatever I can to sort it out. But she just left a negative review, so then I reached out to her and tried to kind of sort it out, and in the end, after we'd had teas and fro's and I'd sent her some pins and things, some different backs, she then did change the review and say that she was absolutely really happy. So I think it's just so important, like you just got to look after your customers. At the end of the day, even if it wasn't, even if she hadn't changed the review, which is completely up to the customer, then yeah, I would still do everything I can, because I just think that's my job at the end of the day. As a small business owner, we do have this advantage where we can choose to provide excellent customer service, and if you are getting loads of negative customer feedback, then sort it out, what you're doing. So I think that's the only kind of criticism that you need to take on board and you need to take action on. So then the second type is, I like to call it dicks on the internet. So yeah, so I guess I've been pretty lucky, touch wood, that I haven't got a lot of this, but if you post stuff on the internet, it's what you're gonna get. So I think with this one you can either just block and delete, and this is, so what I'm talking about is people being super mean to you just for no reason. Probably, to be honest, they have issues in their own life where, I don't know, they have like fears or anxieties or things like that. So yeah, I would just never engage if someone's being nasty. Of course, if someone just wants to bring up a good point, then I'll have a chat. That's cool. But yeah, if they're just being super nasty, then what I used to do is just block and delete. Now I'm kind of more inclined to leave it and just be really nice to them, because if you're just really nice to them back, there's nowhere they can really go. But those are the two options. And then I guess type number 3, I just think this is the most dangerous type, because it's so difficult to deal with, and sometimes it's difficult to even see it as criticism. And this is criticism which comes from a well-meaning place, and it's often from someone who is close to you, who knows you in real life maybe, or is just like a good internet buddy. But this is kind of things like, don't quit your job and go travelling for a year, or don't start a business, or don't take on an employee, because people see these as scary things. Like they are scary. These are things that I've done, and these are things that scare me so much. And people who don't understand perhaps your life, your point of view, it's really scary for them. Maybe people from different backgrounds or different generations who've had different experiences just will be very well-meaning and give good advice, but then if it's something that you want to do, you just have to do it. And it's really hard sometimes to not listen to those voices, because maybe you have those own fears going on in your head already, and you have these other people, these external people reinforcing that, it's so hard not to take it on board. So I just think you have to try so hard just to be the one voice in your head. And you know, we only have one shot at life, and it is short. So you've just got to try. And you know, no one else can really see the vision that's in your head, of your, you know, travelling or your flourishing business or whatever. So you just have to go for it, and it is so hard. And I talk on Instagram about kind of self-care and that kind of thing. And I think self-care for me is limiting time with negative people, and or just not talking about big decisions in my life to people who I know are going to have a fearful negative reaction, because I know that it will put me off. So that's kind of how I would categorise the three types of criticism. I'd really love to know what you think, and also how you deal with criticism. Oh, and I just want to say as well, negative criticism is like so powerful. It can be so powerful if you let it. And as I say, touch wood, so far I've been quite lucky. I haven't received a whole lot, but I can probably tell you word for word every single piece of negative criticism that I've received about my art, definitely, because it does strike home. And you know, I've had so many positive you know, people saying positive things, but could I recite any of those to you? No, I couldn't. So I had one incident where a customer they'd bought a pin, as it was of a sloth, and then they asked to cancel their order, which is fine. But I always ask why, you know, to see if I can do anything to improve. And they said that they decided they didn't like it because it didn't look enough like a sloth. And that's not a mean thing to say. That was their opinion, but I just always remember that. And then when I do a character, I'm like, does this look enough like the animal, or does it just look like another round potato, which a lot of my characters look like? But that's the style, so I don't know. You can try and make everyone happy, and of course you should try and make every single one of your customers happy, but at the end of the day, you've got to be true to yourself. And there is actually one major time where I have let a piece of criticism really affect me, and that was about over 10 years ago when I was at university. Was that long ago? No. An amount of time ago. I can't remember how old I am. Anyway, yeah, I was at university, and so I have a mole on the side of my face, which I went like 18 years of my life or whatever without oh god, it was over 10 years ago. Yeah, without, just, I don't know, it was just part of my face, like my nose. Never really gave it much thought. And then this guy at uni just told me it was ugly. So then, since then, I have been really paranoid about it. I know that's awful. And yeah, like when I'm straight on, it doesn't show, so it's not really in pictures. But sometimes I will, like, if I know it's going to be in a picture, I'll like always try and hide it. And I know that's bad. I'm working on that. So yeah, so tell me what you think and how you deal with criticism.